Hey guys, it's Benjamin with Benjamin's Exotics, and in today's morph guide, we're going to be taking a look at the ball python morph that started it all, which is of course, the normal / wild type ball python. So in today's morph guide, we're going to be taking a look at the normal, also known as the classic and wild type ball python morph, and we're going to be talking about why the normal ball python, even though it is so common, is vastly underrated and misunderstood in the ball python market, and also talk about some of the line breeding projects that you can do with normal ball pythons to take your morphs and the quality of your morphs to the next level. So let's start out with looking at a classic normal ball python. Nothing too fancy, just the standard what you think about when you think of a normal. And this is actually the first snake that I ever got. This is my big normal male Zucchini. This guy's been around for about 8 or 9 years at this point, still in very good condition. But as you can see, this is like your standard classic normal ball python. You have all the really cool patterning down the back. The alien heads very typically are thrown into the back. The alien heads are kind of this brown pattern right here. Typically they have like 2 spots, which makes them look kind of like aliens like that, but some of them only have 1 or are kind of deformed like that. But you can see pretty nice brown color, not too dark, not too light. This is just a standard high quality normal. You can also see all the yellows in the sides. I actually have some really incredible ones where they have like a green yellow in the side, which we'll look at in a second. Standard blushing in the space between the alien heads. And if we look at the head of this snake, again, nothing too fancy. Just light color, brown head. The normals have the black eyes, almost so dark that you can't even see the pupil, and a little bit of yellow color beneath the eye. That is like your standard classic normal ball python look. And before I forget to mention it as well, the normal ball python typically has kind of this, I don't want to say checkerboard because that's not the best way to describe it, but certainly a pretty cool gray pattern on the belly. Not all normals are like this. Some have white bellies, some have like tracking, almost like a pied. You'll see like they call them like a pied tracks on the belly. I'll show you in a second. They go on the sides of the snake, but generally this is also like your standard normal look. Most normals that I have and that I've produced have this kind of gray patterning going along the belly of the snake. Now while this is nice and he's a very nice, good quality normal, let's look at something a bit more dramatic and a bit darker. So here's a female normal that's going to be a bit darker and a bit more busy on the pattern as compared to that last male we just saw. And as you can see, just a bit more of a funky pattern going down the sides, definitely darker. I don't know how well the camera is going to pick it up, but this certainly would be a cool female to breed to some maybe busy coral glow projects or something like that. You can see just pretty standard. Again, not too much yellow on the sides, some sort of white yellow blushing in the space between the alien heads, and overall just a little bit more of a busy dark colored female. Look, she's actually got a really cool spot right behind her head on her neck, which is pretty cool, and kind of a diffused look for a head stamp, and of course those jet black eyes. But let's also look at the belly of this female, because this is actually a pretty cool thing that I don't know how many people know about, but many times if we're talking about pied ball pythons, if you get a het pied, like a pastel het pied or a normal het pied, many pied, or I should say het pied combos will have this pattern on the belly. Do you see how the belly is basically white as compared to the sort of checker pattern of that normal that we just looked at? And it's not really gray. The pattern that you do see is like this black, and it's almost like a railroad track that goes on both sides of this ball python. See how it looks almost like a track? That's what we call tracking, or pied track marks on the bottom of the belly of your snake. Now, of course, this is just a normal ball python, so it's not like a absolute thing, whereas every time you see these markings on the belly, it means that it's a het pied, but it certainly is an interesting marker of the pied gene, and it's pretty interesting to see just normal ball pythons expressing some of these traits normally without the influence of the pied gene. So let's go on to a little bit more of a reduction of pattern, a more kind of streamlined, really reduced, normal looking ball python. So let's grab, let's see, I think this is F14. Yeah, that's a nice female. So, kind of moving away from the more darker, busy pattern, you have something like that. Certainly a more reduced snake. You can see that the alien heads don't have nearly as many spots as the last snakes that we showed, and there isn't nearly as many dramatic kind of thrown pattern to the back. Certainly there are a couple right here, but generally throughout the snake it's pretty reduced. On the belly, we don't have any pied, or I should say het pied markers, as in the tracks on the belly, and this is just a standard white belly on this female. I actually like this female in particular, and the next female is even more dramatic than this, because if we look at the sides, most normal ball pythons, when they blush in the sides, they blush essentially white, like that first normal that I showed you, but some of these guys that I've got, they blush, and they blush kind of like this yellow-green. Like, look at the sides of that snake, if she'll cooperate. Right there. Do you see how the blushing gets this really pretty kind of yellow-green color? I really like that, and I don't know if we can actually implement it into other morphs, but like, look at that color right there. In a normal, you just don't expect to see that bright yellow color, and like I said, the next female that I'll show is an even more dramatic version than this. The next female is basically all the traits of this girl but on steroids, and she's probably my meanest, but also my most impressive normal ball python that I have in my collection, which would be this girl right here. So this is breeder F15, and she is certainly a handful. She's trying to eat me on multiple occasions, but she is just a stunner of a snake. Look how reduced that girl is. She only has a couple spots, maybe one right there and one on the head, but for the most part, all of her body is just completely reduced, and look how much black is actually on the back of this female. I mean, that is a lot of black. I cannot wait to get Coral Glow and other combos like that into this female, because all of that black is just so pitch black and beautiful. I think she's going to make some excellent combos. Even look at the head. She just has kind of a weird dark sort of, like, almost reminds me of like a fire type head. She has this sort of spot right in the middle. Really beautiful female. And I mean, I just really like the black pattern and the reduction on the back of that snake. And we'll look at the belly as well. I think she's kind of just like a more, yeah, just basically white belly. Nothing too special, but like I showed on the last snake, she also gets this kind of beautiful color in the sides. I mean, look at that right there. That's a spot that I want to focus on that, if we can get a good shot. Look at the color on that. Imagine if we could get a morph that was primarily that yellow color you can see in the black blushing on the side of that snake. That is absolutely beautiful, and you can see it's all throughout the sides. She just has these spots of these beautiful, like, green. It's like a green yellow color. I don't know how well the camera is picking it up, but it's really beautiful, and it's not standard from the normal. So I've just showed you guys all of these different normals, and I've showed you all of these different genetic traits that you can line breed for in your normals. So why am I showing you this? Why am I showing you guys all these different normal ball pythons and all the different colors that they can have? Well, it's because of this. When you are breeding morphs, sometimes when you're breeding like genetic mutations, so things like coral glows and pastels, all of those are, you know, genetic mutations, it's not always about putting a million genes in one snake to get an awesome looking combo. Sometimes all you need to do is have the right quality genes in the right snakes to make something truly incredible. So let me show you some of the instances where this is true, and let me show you some of the results that you can get when you're breeding your snakes, because I think one of the best ways that, I mean, let's say you had a coral glow, right? So let's say I had something like this, a coral glow male, okay? I have this male, and he's a nice male, he's a high quality male, but let's say that I want more dark purple in the back, and I want this to be reduced. I don't like all the busyness in the alien heads. I could breed this male to the last normal female that you just saw, and because she has so much black in the back and she has so much reduction of pattern in the alien heads, I'm going to get offspring that maybe aren't quite as dramatic as the female, but they're certainly going to be more black and in turn more purple on the back of your coral glows, and it's going to be more reduced. And if you do that over multiple generations, holding back the best, most purple, most orange, and most reduction of pattern on your coral glows, and then you breed them back for multiple generations, you can take a snake that looks just like this and maybe turn it into something that looks a bit more like that, okay? both the same genetic mutations, but they look completely different. I mean, just look at the blushing on the back of that snake. And even though these are both the exact same genes, they're both coral glows, when I go to breed these snakes, they're gonna make completely different things. So this is how you actually get an advantage and you get a head up in your morphs. Again, it's not all about throwing a million genes into just one snake. If you start line breeding, you can really start getting some interesting colors and interesting patterns in the exact same genes in your ball pythons. Now, to finish off today's video, I wanted to show you guys one normal ball python that I actually almost forgot to include in this video, even though it's a really impressive snake. And this is actually a ball python that we hatched out. Basically, I think this animal came out of the egg maybe 3 months ago. Yeah, about three and a half months ago, and this is actually coming from a coral glow bred to a cinnamon, so this is a pretty interesting clutch. But take a look at this normal ball python. Right off the bat, when this animal hatched out, I at first thought this was a cinnamon because it has a very rich, dark color in the side. And when I looked at it in the egg, at first, you can go back in the video and check, I looked at it and I was like, man, I think this is a cinnamon. But then after further inspection, I didn't see the black on the back, so I was pretty sure it was a normal. And this is a normal type looking animal, but it definitely didn't look like any of the other normals that that male has produced. It has a very, I don't know what you'd call it, like it almost reminds me of like a yellow belly in terms of how bright and vibrant it is. It has all these yellow outlinings. Do you see on the alien heads, the dots on the alien heads? It has all of these outlinings that go around it a lot like a yellow belly, and there's just so much yellow, and you can't even tell on camera, but like orange hues in the side of this snake. A very interesting pattern. The head kind of looks weird as well. I don't know what it is about it, but the eye stripes on the side are kind of small. You know, the eye stripes, I can't even get the snake to hold still, but typically ball pythons, you know, they have eye stripes, and the stripes on this snake, not only are they a really nice color, but they're thinner than on most ball python morphs, and they don't come back to the neck nearly as far as most normals that I've seen. And really, the thing that surprises me the most as this animal has aged is it started getting this little black speckling all throughout its body, but also take a look at the belly. I don't know if it's going to come out on the camera, but this animal literally has yellow hues in its belly. I don't know if you can tell, but like right there, my pinky. Do you kind of see how that scale looks yellow? There's a yellow hue there, there's yellow hues here, and all the way even at the vent, you can see there's like yellow coloring right above this thumb right here that I'm moving. There's yellow coloring coming through on the belly of this snake. So again, I don't really think this is another morph necessarily. I just think this is a really weird kind of dinker gene ball python normal that popped out of that clutch. You know, just some really weird patterning and really weird colors. I mean, just take a look at the neck on that thing. You can see every single dot on the alien head, just like right there, has like a highlighter, a yellow highlighting color going under the head stamp, and it's almost like there's a separation in this animal where up here it's a darker brown, and then once you get to the highlighting color on this, it all turns to this really cool freckled out orange yellow color and pattern. So hopefully this video has given you guys a new perspective on the normal ball python and helped to appreciate just some of the awesome variation that we have even in my small collection of the normals that we've produced here at Benjamin's Exotics. And also, I hope this video helps people understand a little bit more about the psychology of line breeding and using normal ball pythons to increase the quality and the diversity of colors within your morphs. So hopefully you guys did enjoy, and most importantly benefit from today's video. If you guys want to see more of our normal ball pythons here at Benjamin's Exotics, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Benjamins_exotics. Link will be in the description below. And that's going to be just about it for today's video. If you did like today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. certainly isn't like a end-all be-all. If you see railroad tracks on the belly, you know it's a hepide, but certainly, ooh, we're just getting a little bit of a urates right there, but certainly it can be a good identifier for your ball pythons. And this is turning bad so quickly. Oh man, come on. Okay,